Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jen, and in today's video I am working on a painting of our dog Sky. Now I was actually going to have this finished, but it doesn't happen. Mostly because the headache that I've had for the last 10 days, 11 days has not gone away. If anything, it's gotten worse. But I kind of now know what's causing it because the lovely optic neuritis has returned, so that's what's causing my headache, and it's the nerve in your eye, and I'll maybe leave a link if I remember explaining what it is. And this is the 5th, 6th, 7th, I don't know how many times I've had it, and I could take steroids to kind of cut down on how long it continues, but I don't like taking steroids because I sleep. I'm like, you don't sleep. Yeah, they're not good. There's other things too, but I just don't like taking them unless I absolutely have to. And optic neuritis either gets better on its own or it doesn't. And hey, it is what it is. The nerve is damaged, so which is really cool actually to see in photos when they take photos of your nerves, because you can clearly see that the nerve is damaged. The blood flow is fucked up, so that's what's damaged it and stuff like that. But that's why this isn't finished, because I have like no depth perception at the moment because my right eye is so cloudy and it just doesn't work right. But I thought, hey, I need to get something up, so I'll work on this as much as I can over 4 or 5 days. So I do manage to get a bit done. I mean, I added the basic black and white, some of the white to the face, but not all of it, because I don't actually work on the nose part and the mouth part. I just mostly focus on the fur around her eyes, and then the fur on her ears, and a bit of the fur, the white stripe. But I still need to add some different grays and maybe some like light blues to the white part of her face, because it's not pure white, obviously. There's a bit of gray, and depending on the light there'd be different colors. But I decided to use blue to kind of just break it up, and I like blue, and I thought it would look nice against her eyes, which are maybe a tad yellow now that I look at them here, but I like the way they look, so I'm not going to change that, even though I could, because the eyes are actually on a different layer compared to the rest of it. The rest of her is on one single layer, but the eyes aren't, so I could technically change the color of them. But yeah, so anyway, I meant to say I had redrawn the sketch because no matter how much I looked at the sketch, I didn't like the way it looked. I mean, I never really liked the way the sketch looked, but it was just I couldn't fix it, so I like, no, just redraw it, because it's pissing me off, so let's just redraw it. But yeah, so like I said, now I'm starting to work on her ear, so now her ears are very pointy-ish kind of thing. Pretty sure she's crossed with a Spitz, she's a Border Collie, but probably like a Heinz 57 version of a Border Collie. There's some kind of Spitz, some kind of Spitz dog in there, don't know what, but some kind of dog. I mean, when we're up on the hill with her, people who have, say, like Huskies or any kind of Spitz dog, they're like, oh, crossed with so-and-so, and I'm like, well, quite possibly, but, we're not 100% sure, because we're her 3rd, possibly 4th owner, so we have no idea, but not that it matters. I mean, she could just be a working farm basic Border Collie, which is why she's, looks the way she does. She's a Border Collie, but anyway, so yeah, you can see kind of here that I changed the background color a bit, because I really didn't like it. The green, it was too green. So yeah, I added a bit of a layer of kind of like yellowish orange kind of color, kind of really close to the color of her eyes actually, and just turned the opacity down to like 40 something, I don't know, and it's on an overlay layer, so that kind of worked really nice over the greens that already existed. Added a nice kind of bluish kind of tone to it, and I'm yarning my head off. But so yeah, so now I'm just adding a bit of white to the neck and stuff like that. And you can sort of see the sketch there better, kind of, but what I redrew, because it was just pissing me off, like I said. So now I'm just adding a bit of white. No, I'm not gonna finish or work really on her neck or stuff like that, because I don't need to at this point in time. I just added some of the detail that was around the black parts of her, like her ear, and because I need to add a bit of wispy fur kind of to her ear. So in order to do that, I need to have the base layer on her neck that was touching her ear done, or close to being done, because, like I said, this is all on one layer. So because it's an oil brush, it obviously smudges, and I didn't want it to smudge too much because I wanted the hair to, the little hair wisps that I add to be a little bit defined, we'll say. Not horribly defined, I mean some of them are just kind of there, but, so I had to do this part, so I was just adding a basic, different grays, a bit of blues, some just more dark grays, just to kind of give it a bit of definition. I will work on that more to make it look a bit more defined. But, I mean, the main part of focus is obviously her eyes and her face, you know, so her neck just has to kind of look proper, you know. But I'll work on that later when I get more, like, probably get her nose and her teeth and her tongue and all that stuff finished, and then I'll work on, like, the boring parts, like clean up areas and see her eyes missing. And go back and work on the neck parts, because she's a very, very fluffy, thick neck, actually. Very deep chested for a dog of her size. Her feet and her legs are really dainty, but, you know, she's got, like, pulling power, and it's, like, she's got a really deep chest, which doesn't make, like I said, make a lot of sense, because the rest of her's quite dainty, but her chest is quite thick, and obviously, and she can pull. We've got a harness for her, which she can't really pull on, but if she just caught on a collar, it's like, no, you're gonna get pulled, you know, dislocate an arm socket or something. But, and like I said, I'm just adding different grays, only like 2 or 3 grays. Mostly I use the same gray that's in the corner there and just darken or lighten it slightly, just so it's all kind of cohesive, you know. But in the blue, which is maybe a bit too, I'm yawning, sorry. The blue is maybe a bit too dark, but I think it actually works well. It's dark enough that it blends in with the black, but it's also light enough that it stands out a little bit. So it's, you know, it's not too, like, not abrupt, not the right word, too in your face, kind of. You can kind of tell it's there, but it's not too, like I said, too bright that it's distracting, we'll say it like that. So, yeah, now I am just adding a bit of thinner white to the area, just to give it a kind of bit of definition, a bit more wispy areas, I guess, like that, you know, and just kind of clean up around the edge of her ear, because it was a bit too much white there. And now I've made the brush bigger here, obviously you can tell, you can see that, and I had to actually charge my pens because I forgot to charge them. They just kind of died. I'm like, really? Like, you couldn't have, you know, just prepared me you were gonna die? No, let's just die completely and stop working. So that didn't help my, you know, headache. Not at all. So I'm just adding a bit of, see, black. This is why I had to work on the bit of her neck, because in order to add these black little wispy parts, I needed that area there. Because she doesn't have, like, really furry ears, but they have a bit of tuft to them, especially near the base. But the rest of her ear is just pointy, mostly. But I'm looking at her now, yeah, she's listening to me. She's like, why are you talking about me? But add a bit of shading. Now her ears aren't 100% either finished, either of them. Because I will, if they just don't look quite right when I'm close to finish, I'll probably add a bit more detail, maybe a bit more shading to them, so they're not quite as flat. But her ears are so black, with a bit of white, obviously, but that's mostly the light hitting her, actually. She's grey, but she's not quite that grey on the ears, but the light that day we took this photo was quite bright, actually. Not that, well, it's kind of bright today. Yesterday, not so much, but it's in Scotland. It rains a lot. The weather's okay usually, but it's been raining a lot lately. So, like I said, I'm just adding, rambling more, Jen. Adding a bit of definition to her edges of her ears there. But like I said, her ears are so black. I'm kind of having to, like, look at her and be like, don't move, I need to look at your ears. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? But, so, you know, I'm just blending things out just to kind of give it a bit of, it's not so much 3D, because it doesn't look 3D, but just so it doesn't look quite as flat as it kind of did before, because it was a bit flat compared to the areas, like near her eyes. Why am I pointing at the screen? You can't see what I'm doing. But, so it was a bit flat, so I needed a bit more gray blended in there, and I really need a nap. But yeah, I'm just adding, like, more stripy bits. Get the blue back, add a bit of blue, because I forgot I didn't add any blue to the top of her head. So just add a bit, because if it didn't, it would look really out of place. Same thing with her ears. I realized I didn't add any blue to her ears. So let's just add a bit of blue to the lighter areas of her ears, just so it kind of stands out a bit more. And that itself adds a bit more definition, which is helpful. But, you know, so yeah. It's just me repeating layers, and now I'm just adding like little wispy bits to the edges of her ears, just because now I normally would do this just with a brush, like a bigger brush, but because this, like I said, is all like, I didn't want the smudgy look around her ears, so I had to like add a bit of defined wispy bits to it. So this was a little tedious. I don't tape all this, don't worry. But yeah, so this is it well, not finished. This is what it looks like at the moment. You can see the background changed better there, but it looks kind of odd because she doesn't have any shading on her like lower jaw, and she has no nose. So that's definitely what I need to fix. But I'm gonna finish her, like I'll start working on her nose and add some shading to her white stripes and stuff like that. Hopefully this week, because even if this headache doesn't go away, I really need to get this finished. If it was for somebody else, it'd be finished by now. But because this is just for us, I don't have a deadline to meet, which is good. So yeah, hopefully I get this finished soon. So thank you for watching and listening to me ramble as usual. And please come back on Wednesday, which, if I work more on this, hopefully it's finished. And if it's not this, excuse me, I hiccuped. If it's not this that's finished, hopefully it's something else.